through the house in which they are represented and inform Kenyans on what he has done and where he is going. So I'd like to congratulate him for sticking to this mandate and following it. And I have read through the address, and I would want to congratulate the head of state and his government for the accomplishments that they have had, for the projects they have so delivered, and would hope that they will relook where they have not done well in order to move forward. As an accountability tool, the president spoke to the various projects that he has done in the different sectors, and I would urge all Kenyans, the best way to determine whether these projects are there or not is to just check. If there is a road that has been claimed to have been done in County X or in place X, I believe it is a physical feature that can actually be identified. So I would ask and I would urge Kenyans and their representatives as ourselves to be able to cross-check what is in this statement and what is actually on the ground. Now, there is a number of policy decisions that the president spoke to, and I would want to speak to a few of them, noting the kind of time we have. The president spoke about what he is doing or how he is guiding the nation to deliver on healthcare and on universal healthcare. As a matter of fact, I would want to say that the Azimio team and the Kenya Kwanza teams both promised Kenyans that if they come to government, they will deliver universal health care. Honorable Speaker, the right to health as provided in Article 43 of the Constitution is perhaps one of the most important rights, in the sense that a human being who does not have health care is unlikely to be able to enjoy the other rights. So the promise of universal health care is a promise that every country must plan to have. And I think every manifesto in this country promised universal health care. Honorable Speaker, this government moved us from the NHIF to the SHA arrangement in terms of the financing of healthcare in the country, and the number of registered members in SHA now are more than triple the number that was there in NHIF. And the president spoke to this issue, and we would want to congratulate the government that we have more people signed to the SHA, but what I did not hear the president speak about is the challenges that have emerged as SHA is being implemented. I would want the president to keenly listen to the complaints that are being raised by on the implementation of SHA in the different locations, and to be able to get his team to come together and find out how can we correct whatever looks bad. Honorable Speaker, sometimes when we speak as politicians, we make it look as if NHIF was operating well. I think if you look at the audit reports around NHIF, we had a lot of issues in NHIF. I would want the president to be able to filter the key issues that were negative about NHIF, to also listen to what is being said about SHA that is not working, and to get his team to respond to that. That way, the ambitious program to get every household covered in healthcare then will be achieved. Honorable Speaker, we must not kid ourselves. For us to be able to handhold each household on healthcare will require exponential amounts of monies. And whether we get them from taxes or whatever innovation we come up with, the people of Kenya will collectively bear that burden. So it is an issue that I would urge all of us to innovatively look at, and I would urge government to also listen so that we are able to move on this issue. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that the President spoke about was education. The President, this government has done well in employing more teachers. We still need more teachers to be employed. We have students receiving capitation. But, Honorable Speaker, I think the bulk of our students, particularly after the O-levels, are not able to find their way into tertiary institutions to get the skills that we need for enterprise. My take would be that the head of state should again find out which is this innovative way in which we can invest better for education to truly be an equitable asset for every Kenyan. Honorable Speaker, in his 4 points, the head of state talked about establishing a state department that will deal with matters, science, and research. I would want to congratulate the President for this, for the reason that the world is now being driven by technology, digital technology in particular, and science is what we require right now to operationalize the industrial parks that we've been speaking about. Honorable Speaker, it is good to note that this government has seen the large gap or the huge gap of previous governments not investing enough in our universities, not investing enough in science, not investing enough in technology. And I would hope that that promise, which is the first among his 4 points, next steps, will be taken seriously. Honorable Speaker, I represent the Senate in the IPU, and I serve on the Science and Technology Committee, and one of the things that I imagine is that as the world develops digitally and technologically, it is also creating the biggest gap in terms of inequity among the poor nations, the poor persons, and those who have it. This is also happening in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, we have learners in universities from poor families who are not able to learn at par in an age where university has made virtual learning to be the bulk of the methodology of learning. We have students who have very basic phones, and they are typing on those phones. They are latching around areas with bundles in order to be able to participate, while their colleagues who come from able families have top of the state-of-the-art laptops and are actually having their studies better enabled. So I would urge that the President, to back up his number 1 next step, must invest in the public digital infrastructure. I would want to hear the way he's speaking about the physical infrastructure in terms of roads. I would want to see the public digital infrastructure enabled in all places, in the markets, in the rural areas, so that the children of the poor can equally participate in the digital economy, can equally participate in the digital learning, and be able to get skills to participate in the future of this country. Honorable Speaker, we want to grow agriculture to bring value addition. That value addition cannot happen unless we have science and technology around the tools we need to use for our small-scale farmers to be able to participate in what we are talking about. I see the yellow light, and I would want to move to something that I felt the President could have commented on, and he did not. Honorable Speaker, as the Senate, as a senator, I would have wanted to see the President's pronouncement on how we will improve the intergovernmental relations between the national government and the county government in order to better deliver services. I would have also wanted to see how we can have better multi-sectoral cooperation among the different sectors in order to deliver services better. I would want to urge the president, if he were to be listening, that it is better for this country when they go to cabinet not to have departments that are acting in silos. We would want to have departments that are supporting each other in order for the resource that we have to actually be stretched enough to deliver on all that we need to deliver. I would also want to urge on the point of science and technology that the Senate and the National Assembly actually set up science and technology committees to be able to oversight the department that is coming up on science and technology, because that is going to be the key driver of where we are going next. And as you can see, it is the #1 next step for the president. So I'm urging that we all consider this, looking at that, readjust ourselves, because we are that monitoring and evaluation mechanism. We are that oversight mechanism that should be assisting to see whether we can hold the president accountable to what he has said. So I'm urging that we as Parliament also readjust, organize ourselves in order to create the relevant committees that will be able to deliver on this issue. As I finalize, speaking about interconnectivity, I would want to see better interconnectivity or interrelations between the agriculture and the health sector. Honorable Speaker, without going far, I would want the president to take keener interest in the dumping by Europe of poisons that are being used in the agriculture sector in this country and that are making our produce not to be competitive out there, but as well as actually harming the health of our people. I would want to see him be champion an operational scheme, a regulatory scheme, noting that national government is the one in charge of regulations, to ensure that we put in place standards that are not poisoning our people, harming our health, but also making us not to be competitive in terms of our produce that we are exporting to other countries. So even as I speak to this, I would want to see the president picking these issues that are actually harming us and encouraging the kind of regulation that would enable us to be able to work on this. Finally, I was disappointed. I would have wanted to listen or to hear the president speak broadly about the issue of security, particularly excesses within the police. It would have helped, and I make reference to the 10-point that we have, 10-point agenda that we have as ODM with the Kenya Kwanza government. We are keen, being a rights-based party, we are keen on ensuring that we get justice for those who have been harmed where excessive force was used. It would have been kind for the president to speak to the issue of security in this country, to assure the people of Kenya, particularly the youth of Kenya, that as we move forward, we are creating the necessary discipline within our forces to ensure that, one, we exercise our democracy in a manner that befits the constitution of our country, but at the same time that we are training our officers to actually just do their job without the excesses. So as I finalize, I look forward to a greater oversight mechanism, which I believe starts with this House. It is not an oversight that is established by the president, but it's an oversight that must be established by this House to be able next year to hold the head of state accountable to say, you said you would do this, did you?
Very well, next is Senator Mudiki Alexander Munyi.
Okay, asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kuchangia mjadala unayoendelea kuhusu statement ambaye rais alisoma siku ya Alhamisi. Ni kushukuru sana kwa sababu ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ya William Ruto na pia serikali ya muungano na ile kazi amefanya kwa kipindi ya miaka 3, kwa sababu yeye naweza kusema ni shujaa, kwa sababu isipokuwa ni Mwenyezi Mungu atungekuwa tumefika pahali tuko, kwa sababu alijaribu sana wakati tulichagua na kulitokea vita ya hapa na pale, lakini baadaye akakumbali pia watu wa opposition kama ODM yaweze kuingia kwa serikali, na hata kama watu wengine walikasirika, saa hii bahali tuko tunaendelea vizuri sana, kwa sababu ni serikali ya muungano ya William Ruto na pia mawaziri na pia makamu wake Profesa Abraham Kithure. Mambo mengi kutoka kwa hii kipindi